it's Jeff Antoniuk here with Guided Listening. Today we're going to listen to a great Randy Brecker album called In the Idiom and the song called No Scratch. Very cool tune. Before we go any further, thank you for watching these videos. If you're enjoying this stuff, please subscribe on YouTube. Please come back every Friday to Facebook or wherever you are seeing these. And there are hundreds of past videos that I've done. The Digging Deeper series is 200 videos, each on a specific concept. None of them are saxophone specific, for all instruments. And the guided listening videos here are, trying to get inside and sort of show us some of the depths that we can get to as we're listening. So I hope you enjoy this. I came upon this album, I think, in the early mid-90s. I was and still am a Joe Henderson maniac, and I was trying to find all, as much stuff as I can. I had, of course, the classic albums that Joe was on from the 60s, the Blue Note stuff, but what was more modern? What could I find? So this album, found it somewhere, and I got it on CD. The band is fantastic. It's Ron Carter on bass, Al Foster on drums. So that right there, this era, this was recorded in 1987. And at that time, Joe Henderson had his famous trio, the Live at the Village Vanguard trio with those guys, Al Foster on drums, Ron Carter. So wow, love that. So those are three of the folks in this quintet. Randy Brecker on trumpet, Joe Henderson on saxophone, Al Foster, Ron Carter, and then it's Dave Kikoski on piano. Fantastic, 5 killer players. So the album is really, really good. And this song from it is the one I always go back to. I actually don't even remember lots of the other tunes on the album because this is the one I listen to. When I think about Randy's playing and writing, there's always humor in it to me. I'm always in a sort of Monk kind of way or a Mingus kind of way. There's a surprise. So I love it when music sort of surprises me. A little moment that kind of makes me laugh or go like, oh, wow, didn't expect that to happen. Cool. Randy Brecker is giving me that all the time in his solos, whether it's a note he chooses, a space he leaves, an angular thing he does that he set me up to expect something else. Masterful player. One of my favorite improvisers on any instrument of all time, Randy Brecker. And as I said, I love Joe Henderson. So yeah, this tune, No Scratch. It's, I've listened to it many times over the years, and that's kind of how I choose guided listening. Sometimes I ask advice from you guys. What would you like me to do a guided listening on? Of course, I love it when it's something I know and I feel like I can talk coherently about, but it's also interesting to listen to something maybe for the first time. I've done that a number of times too, and just, what are my impressions of this thing I'm hearing? So I've listened to this song a lot, but as I was listening to it over the last couple of days, I realized two things: the form and the arrangement. So the form of the song is, how long are the sections? Is there a verse or a chorus, an A section or a B section? So this tune is interesting. I want to say it's an 8-measure A section and then an 8-measure second A section. The melody changes a little bit the second time. The bridge is 6 measures long. Randy sets us up to be hearing 8, but he jumps out of it into the last A section. So it's a truncated B section. So glad I got to use the word truncated, because now you think I'm smart. And the last A section, 4 measures long instead of 8. We would call that super truncated. Okay, 8, 8, 6, and 4, I think is the form. So that right there is, he's playing games with us. And it makes for a really tight, nice tune. It's a jazz mambo. If we had to call it something, I had to check in with my friend Frank Russo on drums. I was trying to tell, where from Cuba, what's the cymbal pattern that Al Foster's using? And Frank, told me we'd probably call that a, sort of a modern jazz mambo, not a traditional mambo, but a jazzified mambo. So that's a cool sound. The arrangement. So think of the arrangement as, we have the song. How do we arrange it? Who's going to do what? We've set the table. But where are we going to put the plates? Let's arrange the table, right? Where does the silverware go? Where are we going to put the main course? Where are we putting dessert? Who sits where? The arrangement makes a big deal, right? So Randy Brecker had the song written, ready to go. He had the musicians there. Here's 5 people ready to go. Who does what part? Who's going to play the melody? So he wrote some backgrounds. Interesting thing is Joe Henderson starts playing some of the backgrounds with Dave Kikoski on piano. Usually Dave's busy comping, but Randy wrote him a part to play at times. There's a fill that Dave Kikoski does each time, and it's the same fill, and he does it like 6 times, which makes me think it's written. Randy wrote a piano fill. It's a beautiful descending scalar kind of line in the same place each time. So there's lots of detail in the arrangement, which is awesome. There's only 5 people. You know, I've done lots of quintet gigs where nothing's really arranged. Let's play the melody, let's solo, let's play the melody. And that's great. That's the history of jazz. But he put a lot of time and thought into this arrangement. This is a masterclass on arranging. So let's listen to No Scratch, and we'll talk a bit more afterwards. Little 2-measure intro there. Here's the tune. You hear those moments when Joe Henderson is playing an answer with the piano. And there, Randy left the melody. Joe was playing the melody. Randy left to do a little thing. So they're trading the melody around. There's that line. That descending piano line, that happens each time. This is the bridge. Listen to that awesome cymbal that Al Foster's playing. We would call that trashy. Trashy cymbal. So it's a pang cymbal or a china cymbal. Great sound. And here's the last A section. The bridge was short. And our short last A section. Randy makes me smile. Those straight articulated notes, the angularness, the space he's using. He does lots of those falls, lots of dramatic things, but not in a showy, irritating way to me. And fantastic lines, so interesting. Here's the bridge. No, that's where we'd expect the bridge to be, right? They solo over a bunch of A sections. The bridge is not part of the solo section, part of the arrangement. Fascinating, right? That's the third A section. Another A section. And that's so grooving, that however you want to think about that 2 feel in the bass, right? And what comes up here? So to end his solo, he plays the bridge, the 6-measure bridge, as an interlude. So he played the bridge and the last A section. That's kind of a cool way to set the solos off. Next solo. Man, textbook Joe Henderson. Just all that stuff he played there is classic Joe. The little grace notes, the trills. And how bouncing and light that groove is. Man, awesome. All the layers that Al Foster puts in. There's the basic ride pattern, and then how he's comping on the bell of the other cymbals. Very Al Foster thing to do from this era. And Joe plays lots of double time, lots of flurries, but also lots of melodic stuff and lots of bluesy sounds. So to me, he just puts it all together so nicely. Okay, so that was maybe 4 A sections, no interlude. We just went back to the melody, so we have 2 solos. And there's that descending piano lick that we've now heard 3, 4, 5 times. So I want to say that Randy composed it in or told Dave to play it there. Descending piano line. And here's the bridge. Al Foster goes to that trashy cymbal. What a great texture change, right? It totally changes things. Of course, the composition, the harmony changed as well. But man, Al Foster knew how to step on the gas, right? And here's the last A section, 4 measures only. That descending piano line. A cool vamp here. And a quirky little transposition of the melody. And this answer here. Funny, weird, tongue-in-cheek. How Al Foster goes to the hi-hat there. Awesome. And they just do a board fade on that, kind of vamp out, right? So it's just a 2-measure vamp back and forth. Man, there's so much to listen to there. And of course, we listen to jazz. I listen to jazz because I love the solos so much, but there's so much intricate going on with the accompaniment. Ron Carter's feel and how he's relating to what Al Foster's doing. Al Foster, I love the way he develops and keeps interest in things without it being sort of overbearing necessarily. How Al Foster was creating the form of the tune so well. Dave Kikoski's comping was fantastic. We didn't get to hear him solo there. He's a great, great player. And I would really love to know the story of that descending line we heard at least 6 times. Maybe Dave played it once and Randy was like, dude, play that every time. Maybe Dave didn't have to be told. Maybe he played it once, was like, I like that, and he did it every time because that's what a badass does. A team player doesn't have to be told to, do what all the time, right? They can figure it out and they know, that'll be good. He'll tell me if he wants me to not do it. Love to know the story on that. But listen back to it with or without me yakking over top. And the intricacies of the arrangement. If I'm teaching an arranging class for a more advanced arranging class at a university, maybe even grad, this is an example of how 4 people can really get it together. How Randy manipulated the form, used interludes, used a vamp, used a short intro. Let's talk about string quartets for 30 seconds. In a string quartet, in a well-written string quartet, is it the first violin who just plays the melody for 17 minutes and everybody else accompanies? No, it's not how it's done. The melody gets handed around all the time. The cello has it for 2 measures. The viola has it for 2 beats. Now the violin has it for 3 measures. Now it gets tossed over there. So it's always moving around. Lots of times in a jazz thing, it's like whoever the horn player is, plays the melody all the time, right? So because it would be hard to figure that out on the fly. Jazz is an on-the-fly art form, right? But when we have time to do an arrangement, we can sort of split up the melody, but that still doesn't happen much. It's a little tricky to do. Usually it's one voice that sings the melody. So here is, again, a masterclass on how to break up the melody, have little answers to it, how to have the piano player not just freely comping all the time, how to involve them in the arrangement. It's cool. So check that out. Check that out and see if you notice some of those little things that make this really wonderful tune. And I wonder if you agree with me that this has a playfulness to it, a lightness to it. So I think something to do with the groove, that sort of 2 feel, the space in it, the angularity, the fact, the truncated forms, we move to the next thing, the editing, how the literally the editor of the film did some surprising edits that gave you an emotional response. Randy did that here. So, hope you enjoyed it. Randy Brecker, Joe Henderson, Dave Kikoski on piano, Al Foster on drums, Ron Carter on bass. I love it. Check out that album. It's a good one. All right, I hope I'll see you at Jazzwire. And the Summer Summit, the Jazzwire Summer Summit is coming up this July. We have a virtual session and an in-person session. They're both booking up. We're still 3 months out, so it'll absolutely be booked up, and whether that's in 2 weeks or 2 months. So please reach out to me. Please visit the website and get more information and sign up. We'd love to work with you. All right, take care.